was saying thank you so much for joining us on this webinar of this series of webinar that we are presenting every Tuesday. Today, we're going to speak about how to open your own business in Spain. This is one of the topics that I would like to discuss the most because it's very closely related to my own experience in Spain. When I came to Spain from the United States, where I was practicing as a lawyer, my objective here was to open my own practice. And for that, I had to create a company in Spain as a foreigner, and very successfully, I have done it for over 10 years now for many, many clients around the world. So I'm very happy to be here to explain to you what are the steps to open your own business in Spain, in particular when you're coming from abroad. So without delay, let's begin. The first step that you need to comply with as a foreigner doing any kind of businesses in Spain, not only opening a company, but also when you need to open a bank account or where you need to enter into contracts, or if you did later decide to purchase your own property, all processes that we can assist you with, you need to obtain a foreign ID number, commonly known as NIE, because of its acronym in Spanish. Número de identificación de extranjero. That number will be the same number that you will have when you later decide to become, if you later decide to become a resident in Spain. But for this purpose, is given to you in a certificate, in a paper document, and it is only valid for 3 months. This document is issued by the national police, and we need to obtain an appointment, a previous appointment, in order to request the NIE. So the way that we work is that we require our clients to issue to us a power of attorney. In that power of attorney, not only the authority to process the NIE number, but also all the authorities that are required to open the company in Spain are included. This means that you can completely open your company in Spain while being fully abroad, because we will take care of all the steps that are required with the power of attorney. So with the power of attorney, we request your NIE number, then obtain it, and then we have it issued for 3 months. During those 3 months, we also need to request a certificate of denomination. This will be the third step. The preliminary one will be to issue a power of attorney that we will be gladly draft for you and give you instructions on how to legalize it so it's valid in Spain. Then we request a NIE number on your behalf. It is usually a process that is complicated, not because of the process itself, but because it's very difficult to obtain appointments with the national police. Then the third step will be to obtain the certificate of denomination, which is the document that I was starting to explain. This is a document to protect consumers in Spain. And what it states is that there is no other company in Spain with the same number or a very similar number, name, with the same name or a very similar name than the one that you intend to name your company with. So this is now a process that it can be done online. We request from you several options of the name that you'd like to give to your company in Spain. And then we receive a certification giving us the name from that list of options that you have provided that we can use to open your company in Spain. That name is required prior to anything because we need to open a bank account under that name, independently of the number of administrators or shareholders that the company is going to have. So with the NIA numbers of the administration, the powers of attorney, and the certificates of denomination, we then go to a local bank, and under the name of the company, we open a bank account. The most commonly form of society that is opened by foreigners in Spain is limited liability. Is what would be equivalent to a limited liability company. In Spanish, a sociedad limitada, SL. And the social capital to open that company is and the required social capital to open that company is 3,000 euros. The deposit of the 3,000 euros has to be made from the shareholders, from their personal bank accounts to the bank account of the company, and a minimum of 3,000 euros must be deposited in total. That corresponds with the types of shares that each of the shareholders possesses in the company. Once that deposit is made, that usually when the funds come from outside the European Union, that transfer may take days because of the European law to prevent money laundering. Once the funds are actually available in the bank account in Spain, the bank issues a certificate of deposit. That document states that in that financial institution, under the company's the company that will be created name, the funds necessary to open the bank account, to open the company are currently deposited. So with those documents, then we can review and agree and draft on all the terms of the corporate documents, articles of incorporations, types of shares, and the documents that are required to submit to the registrar. With all that documentation, again, namely power of attorney, NIA numbers for the administrators, certificate of denomination, and certificate of deposit from the bank, and corporate documents, depending on the type of agreements that between shareholders and partners that you need to have, we go to the notary on your behalf. The notary takes care of reviewing all the documentation, making sure that all the corporate documents comply with Spanish law. The notary usually also takes care of obtaining from the tax agency, what will be the equivalent to the IRS, a preliminary tax ID number. And with the documents completed, we actually sign the deed of constitution of the company on your behalf, and the notary forwards those documents to the registry. The registry usually takes a couple of weeks to get back to the notary with a determination, and then the certificate of incorporation is issued. Once the certificate of incorporation is issued, we then have to go to the tax agency to register the company, to get the definite NIA number, and to pay the corresponding taxes for the administrator or administrators of the company that will have to pay a tax because of being administrators of a company in Spain. Once that is completed, if the capital comes from abroad, we need to file additional forms in order to declare that of the investment, even if it's just 1,000 euros, that was made in Spain. Once all that documentation is filed, there is also a requirement in order to do all the processes that a company needs to fulfill in Spain to obtain for the administrators a digital certificate. That digital certificate is a software that is installed in a computer and that identifies the person as administrator of a company in order to do any kind of dealings with all the agencies in Spain, including the tax agency. And after completing all those steps, the company is considered operational. Once the company starts operating in Spain, there is the need to file value-added tax, then the tax that I mentioned for the administrator, and that is called autonomous. The administrator has to register as an administrator of a company in Spain and pay a tax, and also the company's tax. We can take care of not only the whole process that I just described, but also of making sure that your company in Spain is always in good standing regarding all its fiscal and tributary obligations. In addition to that, if because of creating a company, you want to request a residence permit to live in Spain, that is also a possibility. There is a law that allows for persons who are not residents or citizens of the European Union to apply for Spanish residency because they have created a company in Spain. In this case, the company has to have a purpose, a company purpose, that is of interest to the Spanish economy. The law is very vague in defining what is of interest to the Spanish economy, but we are experts in drafting business plans that comply with the law, so the administrators of the company are granted these residence permits. These business plans are presented to a dependency of the Ministry of Labor in Spain. Once the business plan is approved by them, they issue a certificate of approval of the company. And with that certificate, then we can file a residency application for the administrators of the newly created company. In the case of a limited liability company, which is the closest to an SL, which is the company that requires only 3,000 euros of social capital to be constituted. A maximum of 3 administrators can file for a residence permit under an SL. So not only we can assist you with the creation of your whole company in Spain, to put it in operation and to maintain it, but also with the application for residence permits for the administrators of the newly created company in Spain. So I don't think I have questions. I usually get questions in the chat box, and I see that I don't have any. So while I introduce myself, that now that we have gone over the topic that we were going to discuss today, please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Adriana Maria Barba. I'm a dual degree lawyer. I went to law school between the United States and Spain, and I'm licensed to practice throughout Europe and by the New York State Bar. For over 10 years, I have practiced in Spain, and my specialty is to attract investors to Spain. I facilitate all the processes that were very difficult for me when I came here, to establish their companies, to establish residency in Spain, to move a branch of their companies in Spain, and to acquire real estate in Spain. I'm classified as one of the best lawyers for 2023 for real estate matters. Our law firm, Vasquez and Barba International Legal Consultants, has been continuously recognized as one of the best law firms in Spain for investors. We have offices throughout Spain and in several countries of the European Union, and we will be happy to assist you in your plans to expand to Europe. I see that we continue to have no questions in the chat, so I remain attentive to any comments that you may leave on this video. And if you would like to schedule a consultation with me, please send us an email at info@bvilc.com. It is the same email from which you received the invitation to attend this webinar. I look forward to be of service to you and to establish your company or your own business in Spain. I'll see you next Tuesday for our next webinar.